What's going on, you guys? So I'm here with a new video today, and what I'm here to talk about is Ryan Yu's first place LCS number 3 Sky Striker deck profile. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. You guys will be notified whenever I upload. You'll also be notified when I go stream over on Twitch. Links in the description. This is crazy. I don't remember the last time I talked about why Sky Striker won an event, but you guys already know after Engage got hit, this deck seldomly saw play. A lot of players who had played the deck for so long finally put it down, and of course a lot of our events got halted due to what happened in the world, and we've just been having a lot of online events, and this is a deck that you just haven't really seen until today. And not only did you see it, but it ended up winning the entire tournament. What I'm talking about is the Luxury Gaming. There are major tournaments that they have. There was over 300 players, all notable players. You have Cody Angeloff. You have a bunch of YCS national champions that entered this event. Ryan Yu himself was the world champion for Dragon Duels a couple years ago. Like, this event is no joke. Like, a lot of people like to say, oh, well, online events don't count. That's total bullshit. You should know firsthand that when all these good players are still showing up and still the ones winning the events, you should know that these events are legitimate, even though they're only online. It still shows that what you can do with the resources that you have at hand. But what I think is crazy is that Ryan Yu decided to take Sky Strikers, and like I said, we haven't seen this deck at all since Engage was at 3. Obviously, the last variant wasn't even pure Sky Strikers that was doing well. It was the Orcus Sky Striker deck, and that was the final nail in the coffin to get Engage banned. But now it's just crazy to me to think that he brought this deck, topped, and then ended up just winning out. Like, that's insane. He ended up winning, and we're gonna do what we always do on this series. Usually would be for a YCS, Nationals, etc., but we're gonna apply the same rules here. We're gonna go over the deck, and I'm gonna talk about the reasons why I feel it won, because I did catch some of the matches, I did catch the finals, and that's just some of the things that I do want to talk about. But first and foremost, shout out to Ryan Yu. Congratulations, man. Hell of an accomplishment, especially with Sky Strikers in 2020. Like I said, I didn't think I'd be talking about RAYE again, but I guess RAYE is always BAE. And a little fun fact before I get into it. So apparently today is May 24th, and apparently 2 years ago is when the series was the set that contains the Sky Striker cards was released. That's pretty crazy. I don't know if you guys are superstitious, but that's insane. But anyways, I'm gonna get into it, and I hope you guys enjoy. So main deck, triple Nibiru. It's necessary. You guys can see I think he has like 14 hand traps in here. All these hand traps are absolutely necessary because of the format we're in. Triple Nibiru doesn't need an explanation. Triple RAYE because she's still BAE. 2 copies of Rose. This card's cool. Really good in the deck. Triple copies of Ash Blossom. 2 copies of the new Ghost Mourner. This card's really cool too. Like, being able to negate effects is awesome. So, and you can also get some of that burn damage in if it does happen. So that's pretty cool. All these tuners are super important. I'll explain why. And then triple Veiler. So one of the main reasons why it's so important is because of this guy, the access code talker. Like, it's because of this that there's a lot of combos that you can do that you end up on this, and then you just OTKing your opponent with it. So it's pretty crazy. That's it for the monsters. For the spells, 1 Rhoda, of course. It's your 4th copy of RAYE or your 3rd copy of Rose. You've got triple potted desires. This card just says draw 2. You need spells in the grave. Obviously, you're not playing Engage, so you need to play any kind of card that helps you get into your deck. So that's exactly what he's doing. Obviously, you hope to get to your Widow Anchors or your Shark Cannons or anything before you desires. But I mean, you got the risk is worth it in this deck, especially because you need your spells. 1 Upstart, 1 Terraforming, self-explanatory. 2 copies of Afterburner. This card's really good. This is a blind second deck for those of you that don't know. I probably didn't mention that, but this deck does choose to go second. Obviously, strikers really do well going second. The extra card, the extra spells is just really important. Afterburners is just great. It just starts breaking a board, and I think this card's really awesome. Triple copies of Cyclone. This is for Eldritch. This is nuts because you just banish the problem. They don't even get to use it in grave, so this card's fantastic. You've got triple copies of Shark Cannon, one of the MVPs in this deck. Just being able to take cards from your opponent is nuts. Helps you link climb, helps you jump into your access code talker or OTK, so that's important too. This card is just fantastic. Being able to take cards from your opponent is insane. Of course, the 1 copy of Hornet Drones. There's 2 copies of Widow Anchor now, so I guess that's one of the differences is that Widow Anchor wasn't at 2, but now it is, so you have at least multiple of them to go through in the deck. Best card in the deck, the multi-roll, self-explanatory. 2 copies of the Field Spell along with 1 Mystic Mine. What I really do like is that he's not relying on Mystic Mine to win. We have seen the builds in the past that max out on Mystic Mine, and Mystic Mine is like the way they win. They just kind of play the Mine Hayate game, but I like that he didn't do that. He does have the 1 copy in there though, because decks like Adamana Sepater don't really main and out, and if they don't main and out, you just have like an auto win against it. So it's pretty crazy. And then triple copies of Impermanence. This card just breaks through boards as well. All these hand traps are insane. They stop your opponent from building boards, and they break boards going second. So it's fantastic. It's just a great card in general. That's the main deck. It's 40 cards. On to the extra deck. So Access Code Talker is one of the newer cards. Everyone's been talking about this card, one of the most hyped cards in the set. This card is nuts. It says your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's effect activations. If the card's link summon, you target a link monster that was used as a material for its link summon. This card gains attack equal to that monster's link rating times 1,000. You can banish one link monster from your field or graveyard. Destroy one card on your opponent's side of the field. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot banish monsters with the same attribute to activate the effect. Okay. This card is just nuts, though. You just jump into it. You use your, you link into you use your Sky Striker links, you link even higher into Needle Fiber using one of the tuners. That gets you into whatever you need to do. You go into Selene, I believe, and then from Selene you jump into Access Code Talker, and then you just OTK your opponent. This card's nuts. This card's absolutely insane. If you watch the finals, I was watching it on stream. It was just nuts. Like, he just went to this and the game was over. So card's fantastic. The one Selene, it's part of the combo. One Hida, same thing. It gets cards from your opponent's graveyard. Being able to reborn an Ash Blossom is super important. Like I said, it helps you link climb into Needle Fiber. Doesn't need to be explained. This card's nuts. He plays one of the new Dark Sky Strikers. I don't know how often this card would come up, but this card is pretty cool. I actually haven't seen this card, obviously, because it's new, but if it's link summon, you can target a phase of monster on the field, banish it until your opponent's next end phase. That's pretty cool. You can target one other card you control. This card gains 1,000 attack, then send the targeted card to the graveyard. So, I mean, that's fine. Like, I mean, this is pretty cool. Like, just being able to boost this and then being able to use its other effect is pretty cool. Then, of course, the usual suspects. You got triple copies of Hayate, the one copy of Kaina, triple copies of Kagari, and the triple copy of Shizuku. That doesn't need explanation. It's Sky Strikers. Side deck, triple DD Crow. You already know the homie DD Crow. Card's insane against Eldritch, just good against any deck that relies on the graveyard, so this card's fantastic. 2 copies of Jamming Waves. If you notice, he didn't main all the Sky Striker cards. Jamming Waves was in the side deck. There was no Eagle Booster or anything like that. There was also no Hercules base. If you guys notice, like, he's very good at managing his resources, doesn't need cards like that, so that's really cool. I think that this card's really good in the side. Obviously, you play against a back row deck or anything like that, this card's fantastic. This card can also help out problematic cards because it destroys one monster on the field and does not target, so that's fantastic. 1 set rotation and 2 more copies of Mystic Mine and a Metaverse. So of course, this looks like, you just ride Mystic Mine to victory, but what's fantastic about this too is against any kind of field spell deck, any kind of invoke deck that uses Meltdown, just being able to set rotate is fantastic. So this card's great, and Mystic Mine obviously can just lock out a game and you just win. Same thing with the Metaverse to get you your extra copies. Triple copies of there can only be 1. Card's nuts. I was actually surprised he didn't main deck it, but it kind of makes sense when you look at this deck, especially since it's going second. You don't need this card. These cards are more for when you go first. This, and along, of course, with the triple copies of Solemn Judgment. These are the best cards you can have going first in this deck. This card just blows out so many matches when they're locked into just one type of monster. It's ridiculous. So I think these cards are absolutely essential for this deck, and especially when going first. So the cards are great. But that's it for the main deck, the side deck, and the extra deck. Now my personal thoughts on why I feel this deck won. First and foremost, no one was expecting Sky Striker. Say what you want. No one was expecting Sky Striker. I never thought I would hear in 2020 that Sky Striker, won an event. And the thing is it's like basically pure Sky Striker. Like, you can say what you want, but there's no additional engines in here, in the sense that there's no Orcus cards, there's no other engine. It's not a splashable engine. It's literally Sky Strikers doing what they do. And I think it's crazy. I think no one was prepared for this. I think that people did not side deck for this deck, or if they did, they didn't side properly. Obviously, since he decided to blind second, he could break boards a lot easier than other decks, because obviously the opponent doesn't know what he's playing. And then the thing with Sky Strikers is excuse me, especially when they go second, is that they can literally use their extra spells and just break every board. So it's absolutely insane. I think this was a really good meta call. Apparently, he's been talking about this deck for a while from the things I heard, or things I read online. He's been talking about this deck, hyping this deck, and then obviously he did it. He brought this deck all the way to their tournament and won the whole thing. Like I said, it was over 300 players. Some of the best names in the game, national champions, YCS champions, all that, all really good players. And I think it's just crazy that, he went against Synchro Eldritch in the finals. Like, you have to think about this. He played against the best deck of the format in the finals and won. Like, I believe he 2-0'd it. I could be wrong, but I believe he 2-0'd it, which is absolutely crazy. Like I said, you would think, okay, how do they deal with Golden Lord? There's so many ways that they get around this. These cards are just insane. And, the side deck is really well equipped for, going first or going second, depending on what they want to do. Obviously, if you want to go second for game 1, they may make you go first game 2, and then you have these cards for blowouts. Like I said, Judgment is a fantastic blowout. I think another reason is that this deck shouldn't be, shouldn't be taken lightly. A deck that can play all these hand traps, that can say, you go first, and then I can stop every action you make, and then just capitalize on that with my spell cards is insane. I think that's why Sky Strikers has always done well. That's why going second with Sky Striker has always done well. And I think that we might actually continue to see this. I think another reason why this deck did so well is also the pilot, Ryan Yu, obviously a very accomplished duelist. You need to understand that, you can't just pick up this deck yourself and expect to go win a tournament. Like, you need to know what you're doing. And that's one thing I'll say is when the pilot is as good as the deck that's built, they're going to do well. And I think that's exactly what happened here today. But those are my thoughts on why Sky Strikers won LCS number 3. Shout out to Luxury Gaming. Keep doing your thing. They always host amazing tournaments. You guys should definitely check it out. Check out their Facebook. You'll be able to get all the information there. But yeah, Sky Strikers in 2020, you guys. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you shocked as I am? Because I sure as hell am shocked. I didn't expect this at all. When I heard it topped, I was shocked. But when I heard it won, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then I witnessed it, so it was pretty crazy. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.